Welcome to the NBA Coast to Coast podcast, brought to you by thelines.com, coming to you from the west coast of France. Josh Lander, joined by my guy Nate Weitzer on the east coast, and we're looking at player props here, Nate, to end the week on a Friday night, looking to stay strong. I know you and Mo managed some super success while I was out. We've had a pretty good week ourselves as well, so we'll look to continue to stay hot with those with you guys. Make sure to like and subscribe to that page. You can also get the other couple game videos that we have up for you tonight on the pretty big slate we have to end the week. Also want you to head to thelines.com. That's where we have our great written content up for you guys all season long, and our odds finder tool that you can go ahead and use to make sure you are shopping NBA lines across U.S. sportsbooks to the best of your ability this season. Nate, let's go ahead and jump into our first prop of tonight.
Yeah, 3-1 last night, or 2-2, depending what you took for Shai Gilgeous-Alexander. But we did hit the lead prop. We hit this guy on Wednesday, as you mentioned with Mo, Bradley Beal, who was at 20.5 points, just still pretty low, and he got 29 against the Sixers. Now he's at 21.5, and I didn't see a price I liked, though, on DraftKings, but you can go up to 22.5 at FanDuel and get a good price, or you can find a good price at BetMGM for 21.5. In any case, I mean, I think we're looking at about 25 here. I mean, against the Brooklyn Nets, right? The 30th defensive rating, allow the 5th most points per game to shooting guards, 26 points. They allow the 4th most free throw attempts, the 2nd most threes, plus 105 for Bradley to just hit 2 threes. Yeah, I mean, he just hasn't been taking them lately, but we've seen his usage rate ramp up with Monty Morris in that lineup, and 28% usage his last 2 games, combined for 49 points, despite shooting pretty poorly in the game before that Sixers game. And you look at his last 4 against the Nets, he shot poorly. 44% from the floor, 32% from 3, but still 24 points per game, still a 29% usage rate. It's really, like we said on Wednesday, it's just a strange thing where I don't understand why this guy isn't attacking anymore. But he does ramp up and play the Nets. I mean, you look at before those last 4 games, like the 2019 season, and he's getting like 35 a game against the Nets, and that was back when they were actually like a feisty team and not just an absolute dumpster fire, which is what we've seen. I mean, so everybody should be ramped up to face this team, should be licking their chops at getting their numbers. And so I think Beal shouldn't have much problem getting 22 to 25, if not going off and getting into a real duel with Durant.
Yeah, to be clear, this is the one I think I'm definitely going to bet on. I feel much more comfortable about this one. Like, not that I don't like our other 3. I'm going to be honest with you. I feel way better about this one than any. I think it's a really nice lock for tonight, for Beal to get close, like you said, 25 plus tonight in a game where, I mean, their offense is kind of limited, right? There's not that much firepower on this team outside of Bradley right now. I know, Kuz is doing his thing still, but it's he's off ball, and obviously KP, his offense is still super reliant on the guards that he has playing with him. So Bradley going to have the ball in his hands, going to have the usage rate, and he's back to Bradley Beal status in a way that he's shooting the ball better than he has. And so I think he's still content to take that and make sure he doesn't get hurt, as he has the last couple of seasons. So I'm going to move on to another really good shooting guard and a guy who took another step forward this year, Desmond Bane. But he's doing it all over the floor, right? We already knew what he was as a shooter, but we're seeing what he can do a little bit more as a playmaker. The assists have gone up for him this season, as has the usage. He's clearly sort of the 1A to Ja's 1A at this point. I mean, this is a Scotty Michael kind of situation where you can say one guy's clearly better than the other, but you can also say neither of them are as good without each other. And this team certainly needs both of them. So, this year Bane's averaging 25 a game with an 125 individual offensive rating, just playing, super well each and every game, even when Ja's on the floor. I hope I mentioned the 29.5 points, rebounds, and assists, I should say. I think we're going over on that for him tonight. We're getting 30 points, rebounds, and assists combined. He's playing the Hornets, right? And it's a Hornets team who actually, if you look at their defensive rating, it's 13th. They played a bit better, but they're still playing at the 7th fastest pace in the league, and still allowing their opponents to do a ton in transition as well. I mean, still giving up more than 114 points a game. So I think with Bane's usage rate at 27%, and Ja's obviously a bit higher at about 36, only below Mr. Antetokounmpo and Doncic right now for highest usage rates in the league. But Bane's still just getting the ball the second, right after Ja is at 27%. So with the Hornets unable to really do much outside in transition, and the fact that the Grizzlies are going to continue to play at that pace, scoring in the top 10 in fast break points per game, I think there's plenty of reason to like Ja, or Bane rather, as his props are still too low essentially so far.
Yeah, definitely too low when he's averaging 34 PRA on the season. And yeah, you said to me, well, but Ja's back after Bane dropped 32 without Ja. It doesn't matter. These guys, I mean, the Grizzlies are scoring 117 and these guys are combining for 54, 55 of those points per game. I mean, they are just absolutely your turn, my turn, turned into a star duo. Bane just continues to add to his game, and even with Ja on the floor, that's actually, he averages 34 with Ja in 6 games. The one game without Ja, he got 40 PRA. He had 32 points. So, I mean, against the Hornets, who really their defensive rating is probably skewed by playing some bad teams and getting fortunate on a lot of shots that they continue to give up plenty of open shots. I like the over here. I mean, Memphis is 29th in defensive rating right now.
Yeah.
Only 227 is the total. So I think you can take the over and you can take some props on both sides here. Taking the under, though, out in LA, Jordan Clarkson, 28.5 PRA. Are you kidding me with this? I mean, he got over it against Dallas and Memphis, who, like I just mentioned, can't protect the rim right now. In 2 of his last 3, he got over that. Otherwise, that is just not happening here on a Utah team that's spreading it out and having 7 guys in double figures usually most of the time. And the Lakers, look, you say what you want about their offense, their defense hasn't gone anywhere. They're 3rd in defensive rating. They allow the 8th lowest percentage inside the arc and 6th lowest outside the arc. And in his last 3 against the Lakers, 12.5 points, 1.3 rebounds, 1.3 assists. So 28.5 PRA. Are we counting on Jordan Clarkson to drop 25 on this team? Absolutely not. I mean, just 23.5 points and rebounds. I would go under that as well. I don't think the assists will be there. This is just another incorrect line set by some of the books, in my opinion. The Lakers should be able to hound him. I think it's just, they've kind of flipped the culture a little bit. I mean, the energy is shifting, barely starting to. And Westbrook is accepting his role off the bench. And if he's going to be hounding Clarkson, if he's actually engaged in playing defense, it's going to be much harder for him to find production against this team.
Yeah. That's fair. I think, some of the thought process is who's matching up against specifically Jordan Clarkson if he's playing on the second unit. Obviously, that first unit's definitely kept its defense up, and an AD being on the floor is always going to help at least your defense from that standpoint, despite how poorly he may or may not be shooting at times. So, yeah, there's a bit of an uptick in LA, but the defense hasn't really gone anywhere, like you said. So let's finish things up here, Nate, with an over on Mr. Nikola Vucevic. I think I was actually looking at some of those props in this game tonight with him against the Celtics, going, maybe there's some unders actually that I'd like to take here. If some value might be over inflated on some of these guys, with actually a decently sized total for these two teams tonight. Where the Celtics have been a little bit worse on defense, to be honest. So, I mean, 223.5, it's not huge. But I do think it's a little bit, low because of the fact that the Celtics have not been playing that good of defense. And Vooch is somebody that, at this point, you look at what he's done against the Celtics in his last 5 versus them, dude, and it's the rebounds that really stand out to you. 17.5 points per game, very good for him right now, but 12 boards as well in that time frame, which is actually what his rebounds prop alone is at 11.5 tonight. But Boston, not surprisingly, there's no Robert Williams III in there. Papa Al is really their main and only defensive presence down low, and so you're talking about a team that's giving up in Boston the 4th most rebounds per game to centers. They're very, very bad right now in defensive rebounding rate, 2nd worst, and also giving up middle of the pack, but slightly worse than middle of the pack in terms of giving up offensive rebounds per game as well. So for Vooch, his last 3 alone, regardless of who he's playing this season, he's averaging 17 boards in 33 minutes a game. Add 15 points to that. So his rebounds and points tonight is 27.5. That's plus money on DK though. I kind of like that right there. The rebounds and assists as well, 14.5. He's got a few more assists this season in certain games, as he's also clearly square. When he's squaring up to the when he's back to the basket, one of the better passers from that position position in the league as well. And he's definitely taken advantage of that this season with a few more slashers, guys like Dosunmu as well, also slashing to the basket. And obviously Derrick Jones Jr. getting a few more minutes as well when in that second unit that Vooch is playing with. So plenty of reason to like him with the rebounds tonight in any way, in any capacity, whether you go for the points adding to that or the assists.
Yeah, I mean, you might worry about the scoring with Vooch, but 14.5 rebounds and assists is plus money. And like you said, averaging 12 boards, about 5 assists against the Celtics too. And he had 23 rebounds when they played earlier this season. I mean, he just boards up at an incredible rate, and 17 rebounds per game in his last 3, no matter who he's faced. And the Celtics don't have much down low. Right now, their defense is actually really underachieving without Rob Williams.
Yeah, 100%. And the 3 teams that they played, I mean, Charlotte and Brooklyn were definitely 2 of those 2 teams right there already, right, without much defense down low, which is also what you're expecting from the Celtics without Rob Will, probably defensive player of the year last season. Just finish on that note. So that is all the time we have for you guys in this one. No means I didn't mean to take shots at Marcus Smart's Defensive Player of the Year award last year, but do make sure to like and subscribe to that page. Continue to follow along with us. We will be back with you each and every weekday of this regular season. So until we see you next, happy betting.